This literally happened this morning. I'm posting it here and hoping to vent and maybe get some perspective because I've been extremely upset all day and can't process this productively. My wife is 8 months pregnant with our child. We live next to another married couple who are in their late 30s. I don't like the guy. I found him to be invasive and in the weird type of friendly that almost seems to be prying and clingy. I'm not sure if that's clouding my judgment here or if this validated my beliefs about him. I left for work, decided on the way there that I just wasn't feeling it and called off. I stopped for breakfast before heading home to surprise my wife, 40 minutes tops. I get home, enter from the back door, and here's my wife and my neighbor sitting in our living room on the couch. She's turned toward him, fully clothed, but with her shirt up over her very pregnant stomach, while he, facing her, is rubbing lotion on her stomach with both hands. They both froze before my wife asked how come I was back, and then said his name, stopped by to borrow the toolbox while I was moisturizing, and wanted to know if he could feel the baby, so I said okay. I told him to get out before I put him out, and he left immediately. I tried to stay calm and talk to her and get the whole story. Neighbor's wife is apparently infertile. First I heard of it, which is amazing considering the guy never shuts up about his personal woes, and he wants to feel the baby. That's her story, and she's sticking to it. That's not good enough for me. My thought process is there's a big ducking difference between feeling a baby for 10 seconds and coming into our home and rubbing lotion on my wife's stomach. If it was some close friend of ours, I might understand. But I dislike this guy, and my wife has never expressed any sort of closeness to him either, aside from passing pleasantries. And she's not the type to let anyone she isn't close to put their hands on her. So in the span of a day, the guy goes from being a distant acquaintance of hers at best to her deciding to invite him in and let him rub her. I also find it convenient that he showed up that early, right after I went to work, very shortly after his own wife also left for work. And he's never come over asking to borrow anything of mine before, yet 9:30ish in the morning and he urgently needs a toolbox? I don't believe my wife. This is the first time my trust in her hasn't been strong enough. I don't believe her story because it makes no sense. I told her I'd be mentioning this to his wife. She was adamant I don't, as not to make more of it than it is. If it was innocent, what more is there to make? And even if nothing more is going on, I'm not okay with what I seen. I'm not okay with him rubbing my unborn child in my home without me there. I know it's her body and her choice, but I'm not okay with this. It'd be one thing to feel the baby kick, but he was sitting reclined comfortably on our sofa, rubbing lotion on her with both leaned into their private conversation. I'm trying really hard to figure out how to express the fact that I don't believe her story without causing stress that'd be dangerous for her or our baby. I don't want to pick a fight with her at this stage of her pregnancy, but at the same time, my mind is spinning and I'm not cool with what happened. Any advice would be appreciated. I read through all of your replies and spoke to friends and stewed for a day. My wife stuck to her story, apologized for making me uncomfortable, and assured me it wouldn't happen again. Seasucker decided to leave a handwritten note in the mailbox, specifically apologizing as well. I still didn't feel better, and the consensus was that I should speak to my neighbor's wife, who we're all going to call Sally. So that's what I did. I watched my neighbor leave for work, then called my mother-in-law to come take my wife for a lunch and a girls' date so she could get out of the house. I left as usual for work, called off again, and went to stay with a friend. Got a text from my wife around noon telling me she was with mother-in-law and would be back by dinner. Went home and knocked on Sally's door. Seasucker decided to tell Sally I kicked him out and caused a scene about not wanting either of them speaking to us anymore because I was pissed about him helping my wife. Come to find out, both Sally and Seasucker have been going over to my house while I was away busy for the past few weeks as my wife had approached her and asked if they would be willing to lend a hand with chores she could no longer do alone. Sometimes Sally went over and did small tasks or just hung out, sometimes both, sometimes just Seasucker. Wife told her I knew and was fine with it, and that's why she was confused when her husband told her this nonsense about me being mad. She showed me where she texted my wife, has her number, not mine, to clarify and ask if she was welcome over, and my wife hasn't replied. And since I don't often see Sally or socialize with them, she just assumed her husband was telling the truth. She also admitted she noticed Seasucker and my wife becoming fast friends and figured it was due to the pregnancy, but thought it was his way of dealing with their own inability to have kids, so she wrote it off. I told her what I walked in on. I told her about the tools, which ended up being nonsense too. Came to the same conclusion. Both cried. Both hugged for the first time. Both took turns denying and accepting and talking each other down. Took a walk around the block together and conspired. She planned to call Seasucker at work and say that my wife messaged her confessing to the two of them having an affair and seeing what happened. Went back to my friends, started having major panic attacks thinking I ducked up. I was about to ruin my marriage, worrying I might be wrong. Bit later, I got a call from my wife screaming at me to find a way to leave work and come home. So I go home. Seasucker called her telling her what Sally told him. She told me I was crazy, I was a piece of crap, that she was considering leaving me, everything, having a panic attack thinking I just ruined my entire life over nothing while also trying to calm her down for the baby's sake. Impulsively told her that if she was leaving, I'd still be requesting a DNA test. And that's when it all came down. Entire tone changed. Pleading, begging, apologizing, hyperventilating, holding me, asking me how I found out while denying anything happened. I told her it'd be okay and asked if she'd talk to me if we went for a drive. She agreed. Took us to a parking lot and we talked. Told her if there was any chance of anything happening, she needed to tell me what was happening because I already knew a lot. She ducked Seasucker a handful of times before she was pregnant. Our baby might not be ours. Seasucker had been coming by and doing daddy duties once in a blue moon in case it's his. They haven't slept together in months. She said we could move away and it's ours no matter what, that he had manipulated her. Admitted she lied to Sally to justify Seasucker going over for daddy duties. I asked her if she'd stay with mother-in-law for a few days while I calmed down. She agreed, took her home, packed up some stuff and dropped her off. I've cleaned out my essentials and I'm in a friend's basement. Friend called her on my behalf and told her that if the baby is mine, I'll be dealing with it. If it isn't, it's on her. But either way, I'll be filing for divorce. My friends took my phone from me and deleted my social media. She's been calling my friends. Friends told her to duck off. I spoke to my boss and he's been very understanding. Last I heard from Sally, Seasucker hadn't been home and stopped responding to her calls and texts. I have nothing left. In less than a week, my wife has fallen apart. The only thing keeping me here is the small chance that baby is mine. I have nothing else. I woke up today disappointed I woke up at all. I've never felt this alone and I haven't accepted any of it yet. I'm praying for the first time in my life that I can stop feeling this way and find strength. Extremely long story made slightly less long. A week after my last update, my soon-to-be ex-wife had our child, which I was at the hospital for. I'm the father. The first few weeks after my last update were extremely difficult, with family, friends on both sides adding to the drama. Thankfully, I've had an overwhelming amount of support, not only from the vast majority of people I know in my personal life, but from all of you as well. My wife and I agreed to sit down and discuss things after she was discharged, in my friend's basement with my friend upstairs in case I needed the support. She came over and we basically said everything we needed to say. I exploded and said a lot of mean crap, most of which I regret, some I don't. She spent the whole time apologizing and begging me to take her back and give our family a chance to survive everything that happened. Went on for about an hour like this until I accepted that there was nothing left to say and I have zero romantic love for her anymore, and she accepted that we need to focus on our daughter above all else. We're agreeing to figure out a custody split amicably, and to eventually co-parent more actively together when wounds heal, but our marriage is over. She has the potential to be a wonderful mother, but she failed me as a wife, and my sole focus right now is how to get myself mentally where I need to be the best father possible. We plan to eventually sell the home, but right now I'm staying in an apartment. Sally is leaving Seasucker. He's apparently staying with his mother and still refused to speak to Sally directly. According to her, the last thing that was passed along to her is that he understands what he did. He's sorry he hurt her, he loves her and won't contest a divorce. She's struggling to handle everything and lacks a support system. So we're developing a friendship, mostly two wounded people leaning on each other, and I'm doing my best. She plans to start therapy too. And no, I don't plan to be anything more than platonic friends with Sally. Lovely woman, but no. I still haven't fully processed my new role as a parent. I think mentally I already convinced myself my child wouldn't be mine in case it ended up that way. I plan to take classes and spend more time with my daughter doing early bonding. I'm terrified, but happy. I know there's a lot left to do, and a lot of hurting left to go through, but I'm stable, and a dad. That's what matters most. Sorry for the mistakes, as English is not my first language. I am 36, female. My fiancé is 48, male. We've been together for 2.5 years. We are very happy together and planning the wedding. My fiancé had quite a colorful past. He has a son, 10 years old, from his previous relationship. He has never married with his son's mother. Let's call her ex. My fiancé and his ex had been together for 2 years, then had a baby. When the baby was 1 year old, my fiancé met another woman, fell in love with her, and left his ex. He was with the new woman for 8 years when she cheated on him, and that's how their relationship ended. Call it karma if you want. I met him soon after that. Our friends introduced us, so I also know some history from them. Well, my future mother-in-law always hated this other woman with passion. My fiancé even was no contact with his mother for 3 years because she had problems accepting Irene in the family. As poor ex was left with a baby, I guess, just for the record, future mother-in-law left my fiancé's dad for her boss when he was 13 and his sister 15. That's why it's a little strange she had problems accepting the other woman in the family and claimed she is a homewrecker, as future mother-in-law is far away from being a saint herself. Anyway, as far as I know, there have been a lot of fights and arguments over the new woman between my fiancé and his mom. Also, I know that there was a lot of fights between my fiancé and the new woman because of his mother's close relationship with ex and ex herself. I know the new woman hated his ex. I know that my future mother-in-law was always having Christmas with his ex at mother-in-law's house, while my fiancé and his new woman were never invited. So, to conclude, everyone was feeling sorry for his ex as poor thing was left alone with the baby and evil new woman took the daddy from the family. Which is fine, but people separate and there's always two to blame. Whatever, maybe the new woman was really a bee, I don't know. So my mother-in-law was very excited and happy when she found out that my fiancé separated with the other woman. She was very happy to finally meet me and looked like she likes me a lot. Anyway, I was cheated on in my previous relationship, and when I moved in with my fiancé, I decided to check his phone, just to see what kind of relationship he has with his ex. And maybe she will want him back after he split up with the other woman. Who knows? Anyway, when I read their texts, I understood why the other woman had problems with his ex. Ex was not only sending photos to my fiancé of their son, but of herself as well. Also, pictures of bruises on her knee after she fell down. Texting him at 6 a.m. about her job interviews, etc. Reminding him how they used to go running together, etc. That was way too friendly in my opinion. When she was coming to pick up the child from us, as they share the custody, she was really taking her time chatting with my fiancé about random stuff even if I'm home. Just no common sense at all. I was always wondering, and still do, is she that stupid or just very clever? I told my fiancé that I don't feel comfortable for them being so close. She is still his ex, not his best friend. They can communicate about the child and what is related to him, but come on, he wouldn't be happy if my ex would be texting me at 6 a.m. I know it's been 10 years since they have been together and he doesn't have any feelings for her, but it still pisses me off because she doesn't feel any boundaries. Also, the boy is so babyfied. He's such a mommy's boy. She does everything for him, so the boy is 10 years old and doesn't know how to tie his shoes or make a sandwich or get a glass of water for himself. We are trying our best to make him more independent. He's a big boy already, but it's very hard because at mom's home everything is done for him. She just doesn't give him enough education and discipline. This boy is so into football, and I was always encouraging him to go to football training classes. My fiancé spoke with Faith thousands of times that the boys should go play football, but she never agreed. Even my future mother-in-law once mentioned to me that she thinks it would be good for John to go play football, but she doesn't understand why Faith doesn't take him. Then she said that she thinks Faith is struggling with money. I was really pissed off. Again, Faith in victim's position. I told my future mother-in-law that it can't be the case because my fiancé pays her a lot of money for child support, while my best friend, also divorced and has a girl, gets half as much money as my fiancé pays Faith, and she still manages to take her daughter to horse riding, gymnastics, tuition, etc. Also, Faith just bought a brand new car, so come on. I think future mother-in-law spoke with Faith after our conversation, and Faith finally agreed to take John to football training. Don't worry, guys. Then she starts moaning that she needs to wait in the cold car until football training finishes. What the F? Turn the heating on and it's your son. Put some investment in him. Anyway, despite that she is the best mother in my future mother-in-law's eyes, as I understand they speak almost every day, if not every day. My future mother-in-law even has pictures on the wall with X. That's how much she adores her. Still a mystery for me why. Anyway, to the main story. When the pandemic started, my fiancé lost his job. Soon he received another job offer, as he's good at what he does. But the job was 100 kilometers away from home and not that well paid. He would really have struggled to pay the mortgage, child support, and the fuel to go to work. Also, it's tiring that distance. Soon after that, he received another job offer, but in another country, not UK where we lived. This job offered him a very good salary. Also, private school for his son in this country. Of course, when my fiancé mentioned it to his ex, she said strictly no, his son won't be coming with us. Which we perfectly understand. I think children need to be with their mom. It was a very hard decision to make for my fiancé because he's very close with his son. We used to have him 3 to 4 times a week. I think he's a great dad. Not forget to mention that my future mother-in-law was very excited for his new job opportunity. At least I thought so. So my fiancé accepted the job and we moved to this foreign country. We stayed in this foreign country for 3 months and we had to go home as we were in the process of purchasing a new house when we left. Also, my fiancé was looking forward to seeing his son. So he texted his ex-wife saying he will be coming back in December for 1 week and he would like his son to stay with us for that week. She said no. Country is in pandemic and it's against the law for my fiancé to see his son. He was furious. I was furious as well. He is his dad. They have shared custody. How come it's against the law? We were speaking with my future mother-in-law and I mentioned to her that my fiancé is very upset because X is refusing to give him his son when he comes back. I thought she would speak with X and maybe she will change her mind. You know what she said? That X is right doing such thing as it's against the law because my fiancé needs to self-isolate when he comes back and then son will have to self-isolate as well, which is not what the law says. I am a lawyer myself and I started thinking that if his ex had to self-isolate, so what? She couldn't have her son living with her? Mother-in-law then started telling me that it's my fiancé's fault he's upset as he never should have taken this job and left. What? You were so excited when he received this job offer. She said that that's what he gets for leaving. I was fuming. Then I started looking for legal information and found out that when the child is in shared custody, one of the parents can't use pandemic as an excuse to not give a child to another parent. And that if my fiancé needs to self-isolate after coming from another country, he still can have his son and drop him to school and pick him up. So a household who lives in the same house with a person who needs to self-isolate doesn't need to self-isolate. I sent this information to future mother-in-law, and she was still adamant not to give son to my fiancé when he comes back. I said that I hope that his ex will make a decision which is the best for her son's interests. Then future mother-in-law got mad. She started telling me that X is the best mom and don't I dare start doubting that. Not teaching her 10-year-old son how to tie his shoes or make a sandwich by himself or forbidding seeing his dad doesn't make her the best mom. But that's not my business. I am not his mother to educate him. I told my future mother-in-law that it's very strange for me that she treats X as her real child while my fiancé is her son. And that she should support her son wanting to see son. At least think about other options for them to meet. She got really angry with me and said, "Who do you think I am to lecture her?" And she won't support all of her son's tantrums. Tantrums? For duck's sake, your son just wants to see his son and you call it a tantrum? She didn't even bother to read the rules of self-isolation and shared custody before shouting that he can't have his son. Anyway, my fiancé didn't speak with her after that. I kept speaking with her and also told him not to fight because she is still his mother. Thank God his ex was sensible, and after my fiancé sent her the article I found, she agreed to give son to him. Another story. So I have my own business, and I can work from where I want. I am very busy lately, and I work really hard. Usually, I work 7 days a week. So it was St. Valentine's weekend, and I decided to spoil myself and my fiancé with a spa and pool day. The country my fiancé had a job offer is in the Middle East, just for the record. So it's nice weather here at the moment. I work till midnight every day to do all my work up front so I could relax on the weekend. On the weekend, we went to catch some sun and my fiancé posted some photos of the pool on his Facebook. Same day, my fiancé's sister texted him. Here's a message from his sister, my future sister-in-law, he received. Hi, I think you won't like what I will say, but is your Facebook account private? How do you think X would feel if she saw how you're spending time near the pool? What if she will show these pictures to your son? I don't think it's fair on them. What the duck? If she is a normal mother, she would never be showing it to her son, and why would she? Also, why then should she be upset? Also, I work ducking hard to earn the money and have a free weekend to enjoy it, and how dare she tell that some ex will be upset about that? Also, we offered to take son with us so he could go to a good private school, enjoy the weather, and explore the country. There is so much activities here for children. Why are we blamed now? Should we really feel bad because we left? Should we feel bad that we spoil ourselves after working hard? Is my fiancé a bad dad because he chose a job in a foreign country just to be able to pay child support to his child? Who is right in this situation? Why X is always in the victim's position in the eyes of everyone? Or is it me? Is it only me who thinks like that? Am I overreacting? Looks like all the family is still punishing and blame my fiancé that he left X 10 years ago, trying to make him a bad dad and make his life more difficult. Come on, do you know any other dad that takes his child 3 to 4 times a week and cries because he hasn't seen him for 3 months already and misses him? Do you really understand why his own family treats him like that and supports some woman? Also, still don't understand if X is very clever or really an idiot without a spine. Please help to figure it out. Am I overreacting?